early 2025, Donald Trump returned to the stage with a familiar promise. But this time, it wasn't a wall, it was a bill. We're calling it the One Big Beautiful Bill. It's big, it's bold, and it's going to save America. At first, it sounded like a branding gimmick, but this wasn't just campaign talk. Congress passed it quickly, and buried in over 1,000 pages of legal text was a complete rewrite of America taxes, spends, and how it supports its people. The headlines were flashy, the promises were big, but few people actually read what was inside. And now, months later, the consequences are starting to show. Today, we're unpacking Trump's big, beautiful bill, what it really does, who it helps, and who it hurts, and why it might create a future that's anything but beautiful. On the surface, the bill was a dream for middle America. Permanent tax cuts for families and small businesses. A $1,000 government-funded savings account for every newborn, called Trump accounts. Major funding for border security and energy independence. Fewer complicated rules. Fewer government approvals. More ability for people and businesses to act without waiting for official permission. It was sold as a win for the working class, a way to reward effort, reduce waste, and restore national pride. And to be fair, some of it makes sense. If you're working hard and struggling, tax relief helps. If you're a small business owner, fewer regulations can mean more opportunity. And if you're starting a family, a baby savings fund sounds like the government actually thinking long-term for once. But for all the excitement and applause, something important got lost in the noise.
It is the largest transfer of wealth in American history, only it's Robin Hood in reverse. It is taking from lower income folks and working class folks and sending the money to the very top.
To fund all these new benefits and tax cuts, something had to go, and it wasn't coming from the top. The bill quietly made deep cuts to federal support systems, programs that millions of working Americans rely on. Medicaid was cut by over 20%. SNAP benefits, or food assistance, were reduced by $350 billion. Affordable housing funds were slashed in over 30 states, and federal child nutrition programs lost key subsidies. It also allowed states to impose new rules, mandatory work requirements for aid, drug testing for certain recipients, shorter eligibility periods for unemployment. Now here's where it gets interesting. If someone is gaming the system, refusing to work, or collecting benefits they don't need, absolutely there should be rules. Most people agree with that. But here's the reality this bill ignored. Millions of Americans already are working, often full-time, and still can't make ends meet. We're talking about the waitress on her feet for 10 hours a day, the warehouse worker clocking night shifts, the Uber driver grinding 60 hours a week just to cover rent. These people aren't lazy, they're doing their part. But the jobs they have don't come with health benefits, or paid leave, or enough income to keep a family above water. And when you take away their food assistance or cut their access to health care, not because they're cheating, but simply because they're poor, that's not reform. That's punishment for not being rich enough. But wait, there's more to this story than you think. It's a ticking time bomb, and I'll reveal exactly what's about to happen. Trust me, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. Quick break before we get to the scariest part. If you want a system that doesn't hide clauses in fine print, check out The Alchemist. It's a plug-and-play trading robot for MetaTrader 4, scanning currency pairs for high-probability setups and executing trades 100% on autopilot. No guesswork, just smart, algorithmic trading with 24/7 support. Click the link in the description and use code BILL at checkout for 10% off. Now back to the bill that's reshaping America.
I think Donald Trump's one of the worst things to happen to this country.
When he was elected, I cried.
And we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning.
Let's talk about the numbers. If you earn over $400,000 a year, this bill is probably the best thing Congress has ever done for you. Top earners get to keep thousands more every single year. Corporations, especially in oil, defense, and real estate, saw their tax burdens drop even further. And large estate transfers? Loopholes widened. The Trump accounts for babies? Sounds great. But unless your family can afford to contribute more over time, those accounts barely grow. They mostly benefit wealthier households who already have savings, and now get a tax break for adding to them. Meanwhile, the average middle-class household saves around $700 to $1,000 a year in taxes. But on the other hand, they will lose far more in reduced benefits, rising out-of-pocket costs, and lost safety nets. Here's where things turn from flawed to frightening. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the big beautiful bill will add over $4.1 trillion to the national deficit by 2035. Now that might sound abstract, but the bill includes a clause buried deep inside. If the deficit exceeds certain levels by 2030, the government will be forced to make automatic spending cuts. Cuts that target Medicare, Social Security, and education. Not defense, not oil subsidies, and not corporate loopholes. So let's say we hit a recession or a financial shock. These triggers go off, and suddenly, the retiree who spent 40 years paying into Medicare is told, sorry, there's just not enough left. Or the working mom who relies on Medicaid to cover her child's insulin finds the coverage slashed with no warning. It's not theory, it's written into the law, and it's one bad economic quarter away from becoming reality. The One Big Beautiful Bill was branded as a comeback, a power move, a fix for everything at once. And in parts, it works. It cuts taxes, it simplifies regulations, it hands some control back to states, but it also quietly rewrites the contract between America and its people. It favors those at the top while cutting lifelines to those already drowning in water. It demands personal responsibility, even from people already doing everything right and still falling behind. And the worst part? The fallout won't be immediate. It'll come slowly and quietly, and that will be the moment when people realize what they actually lost. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.